Hey everyone, what's up? Josh here, and today we're putting in some more work on this project right here. I'm gonna do a few things to it, and we're gonna see how those few things help or hurt the design, the composition as it is. So what I like to do is group, dupe, and then I've got a backup of what I'm working with. I'm actually just going to flatten this, get it out of the way, and first thing I want to do is zoom way out on the canvas. And I'm going to try to do a few things to liven up this composition. Oh, got it on distort. Switch to uniform. One, I want a slightly closer crop. I am also going to be moving the overall horizon down to lower our viewpoint. So a high horizon means that you're elevated. Low horizon means that you have more of a worm's eye view. Now I don't want the canvas divided in half with the horizon because that's just a boring composition. So what I am going to do is actually start cutting some things out. So even just with the closer crop, let's bring this group back. So before, after, before, after. I like this more already, and we're not even close to done with the changes I want to make. Okay, so next thing I want to do is cut the ladies out. And since all of this is going to be done very quickly, I'm not super concerned with getting a really accurate cutout right now. I really just want to have them on their own layer so I can move them around. So instead of cutting them, I'm going to copy and paste. That way it doesn't leave gaps while I'm resizing. So I'm going to push the perspective a little bit. Good. Now I'm going to do the same for him. I kind of want to overlap them a little. Because we were lacking in the overlap department. And again, copying and pasting him. Make him a little bit bigger. And I just want a very subtle overlap right about there. Now, the background is sort of on its own layer. And I am going to just pull that down. I don't want to rotate. I'm just going to pull that down so that the horizon is even lower. That actually looks pretty good. And since I'm working on a solid background layer here, I'm just going to get the big brush. What do I want?
I want strawberries.
You want your strawberries? Just going to get rid of this stuff over here. And we'll end up with some reflections in the water and stuff later. Okay, so let's group all of this together again. Now we've got before, after. Before, after. Way better. um, yeah, that is significantly better. I don't want to erase. There we go. Grab some colors from back there. Really get this all tied together into a little bit of a be right back. I need to get my little lady some strawberries. Alrighty, I am back. Now I need to. Hey, what is up, Pluto? Sorry, I stepped out for just a second to get my daughter some strawberries, and now, and then I got a phone call. Let's see. Show transition. I am a big fan of fades and hide transition. Also fade. So from now on, whenever I have to step away and I turn the camera off, it's going to be nice smooth fades. All right. Yay for OBS. All right. Where was I? Oh yeah. So the before and after. Before, after. I'm just playing with the composition right now. So really trying to push the big, medium, small, lowering the perspective just a touch. Actually, I'm gonna play with that perspective a tad bit more. Really, what if I do it this way? What if I center it and lower the perspective? Yeah. And I want to push them up. Like that. So I still get a frame on both of the lady folk. So before, after, before, After. I like after much more. Lets me render more. Okay. So now that I've rethought a lot of the composition, let's just leave it in and make sure this background, former background, disappears where it needs to. I did have a lot of stuff I wanted to talk about today. So the family plan for a while has been to eventually immigrate to New Zealand. Like New Zealand is the dream destination for our family. As we were looking into immigration to New Zealand, though, we discovered that there's currently a freeze on hiring nurses in New Zealand, which for most countries, nursing is like a fast track to get into the country. New Zealand is the opposite. I guess the Kiwis have all of the nurses they need and then some, because apparently everyone else had the exact same idea we did. It was like, all right, get a medical degree and you can get anywhere. So let's go to New Zealand because it's the most gorgeous landscape on earth with very low crime rate, very laid back pace to life, very friendly people. So everyone was like, let's immigrate to New Zealand. So we can't now. So we were going to go to Canada. Also looked very promising. For a little while, and then due to reasons, it's looking less safe of a choice. Exactly, New Zealand, land of the hobbits. It's the only country that has the legal permission to put hobbits on their currency if they wanted to, which I am so jealous of. But yeah, Canada was our next choice. Looking less safe now. So Canada recently was taken off the table for us. Not in a bad way. We just decided that Canada might not be ultimately what we really deem best for our family. So Canada was off of the table. So now it's Australia. Yeah, now we're looking at Australia, which is really, really cool. Actually, like we're excited about the prospect of moving to Australia. So it's not a bummer in any way. Granted, like all of the insects and animals in Australia are trying to kill you. They have universal health care, so all of the people in Australia are keeping you alive and happy. What makes Canada seem not safe? Well, without getting too political, Canada could be in a position similar to Ukraine eventually. Like it's all a joke until it isn't, if that makes sense. Yeah. So Canada is currently not in the cards for us. Yeah. All right, back to this. But yeah, my wife is in the home stretch of her degree. We've got 6 months left. 6 long months left on her degree, and then unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, I don't know. So nurses are paid very well. So that's fantastic news. Like I make pretty good, decent money as a tattooer. She will surpass my income as a nurse because there's such a shortage right now that she essentially holds all of the cards in negotiating a salary, which is really cool. And even now, like, I make more money, but she makes steady money. So her income is our foundation, and my income is like all of our bonus money, which is nice to have. But she has a steady income where I have a very variable income. Her income will surpass mine and be steady. Like, she'll have a great salary whenever she graduates. So we are both very excited for that. But she did have to sign a contract last week with her current employer to pay for her summer courses, which that sucks because the contract takes effect after she graduates, not from the date it was signed. And that contract has pushed our timeline for immigration back further, like significantly further. Our goal was to immigrate 3 months post graduation. That'll give us time to, like, she graduates, we sell everything, and her salary plus the income from selling everything would give us plenty of money to move, because we would rather not take any of our stuff, with the exception of my 3D printer, which I'm going to have to figure out power adapter for, and like laptop and my tattooing equipment. But like all of the other stuff from our home, gone. Like that's the plan, is to just get rid of it. Um, Lost my train of thought. It left the station, never came back. Oh, immigration. Oh, and her school and the contract. So, our initial plan was 3 months post graduation, get rid of everything, save up her salary, move. Now she had to sign a contract for a year post graduation, so that pushed our timeline back 9 months, and that sucks. In a way, we'll be more comfortable here while she's making more money. Still not an ideal situation. But what is anymore? What is an ideal situation? Sorry, I'm doing shape design basically right now. So shadow shapes is what I'm focusing on. Imagining the light source from up here somewhere, shining down. I still want to design the shadows instead of worry about very specifically how those shadows would be cast. So like, actually, here's a good time to discuss the difference between cast and form shadows. So head and hair, casting shadow onto the arm here. Cast shadow.
Can you make me a coloring page?
A coloring page.
Yeah, I want you to upload it.
So this, sorry, that would have a hard edge. Because it's a cast shadow. This, as it turns here, is a form shadow though. So I'm going to soften that edge with another shape. This is a form shadow, so I'm going to soften that edge with a band of color or shading as well. And just that alone gives it that nice like difference between cast and form. So this is a form shadow that turns into a cast shadow. This is just a form shadow. And I'd like to push the highlight on the upper side of the arm there too. Same here. There we go. All right, so let's go back to before, after. Before, after. After looks so much better. Hey, whoa.
I want a coloring page. Good, let me coloring page.
All right, my daughter is like hitting the mouse and doing all kinds of crazy things, trying to get me to print her coloring page. So I'm going to go handle that. I shall return very soon. Hello, I have returned. Sorry. I was being accosted by a toddler to print a Hello Kitty coloring page. So, I printed a Hello Kitty coloring page, and we'll see if she is satisfied with it. So, Namira, this is where we started today. Here's where we have ended up. So I tweaked the composition, lowered the horizon line, brought the figures further forward. Yeah, so this I feel like is more character centric rather than scene centric, and I like that. Then we were discussing form shadows and cast shadows. So cast shadows tend to have a sharper edge. Form shadows tend to have a transition. So I did transition on the form shadows and left the cast shadows sharp.
Wow.
You said you didn't want a princess Hello Kitty, so I gave you a strawberry Hello Kitty.
I don't want a baby.
You want a baby?
No, I didn't.
That's not a baby Hello Kitty. That's just a Hello Kitty with a strawberry.
No, it's a baby.
It's a baby one. She is mad. Do you want a different Hello Kitty coloring page? All right, I'll be right back. I have to print another Hello Kitty coloring page. I'm so sorry. All right, we are back. We have done a fairy Hello Kitty this time. Hopefully, that does the trick. We'll see. All right. Oh, I've also been talking a whole lot about immigration and how we're stuck in Kentucky for an extra 9 months because my wife signed a very long contract with her employer. We'll get to Australia or Canada or New Zealand eventually. Gotta keep holding out. Yeah, it definitely feels more intense. I did some overlap between the characters, so like you can see his figure overlaps with their figures. That just adds a little more depth since I flattened the scene out by cropping closer. So I cropped closer, dropped the horizon line. Yeah, I already went over all of that. I don't know what I was gonna. Yeah, I'm lost. So lost. But this is where we're at right now, and I like where we're at. So I'm just gonna start painting over top of everything. Just do a new layer. Everything's gonna get painted now. I'm basically treating it like it's its own. I'm treating it like a flat image now. Got the wrong keyboard. Here's my. Uh-oh. Oh, there we go. All right. I've also been studying a lot of Leyendecker, and I've noticed that almost everything Leyendecker does is triangles. Um, like he finds different ways to make triangles interesting. So I'm going to be working on turning almost everything in this painting into stylized triangles. See how that looks? I might like it, I might not. I'm actually going to bring some brighter. No. Not cream brighter. I would like something less saturated. There we go. like literally triangles. If you look at a lot of, well, specifically in his clothing, um, Leyendecker cloth is essentially just triangles. No, compositionally, triangles. The best example I have there is Frank Frazetta. Like everything Frazetta ever did was like, let's build a pyramid, and hide the feet. But Frazetta's still like freaking master. Um, yeah, yeah, Frazetta's the man. Actually, so I take that back. Uh, I'm just gonna paint over top of this. Um, a lot of Leondecker's triangles, as I say, weren't actually triangles. They were like arrows, if that makes sense. So like this shape, like a chevron almost. And in different configurations. But yeah, that's about what. Oh, yeah, I love Leyendecker and Frazetta. I think Patrick Jones sort of took Frazetta's work and evolved it to the next step, and then added a lot of green instead of red. Um, Here we go. I really like that color. Well, that value, not color. I'm not working in color yet. But Leyendecker also almost exclusively worked with hard edges too. Like he rarely ever had blends, but he tricked the eye with his edges. So he worked a lot at just layering thick, opaque paint in a way that looked like it was blended. And that's what I'm it's a habit that I'm trying to get into because that is the essence of brush economy and shape design. Um, so really trying to mimic the masters there. I don't think I'm doing a great job, but it does explain my goal. Like I'm trying to ask, how can I simplify as many of these big shapes as I can? Well, simplify these shapes into bigger shapes that still read. Like, does that still read? Not quite. It needs a color about like this as a transition, and that reads a lot better. Um, but that's all one big shape now. And it's really hard to do.
Daddy, can I draw a kitty head?
Sorry, making goofy faces at my daughter. Then we run into places like this where I really want it to look like a really soft transition. And that actually works. Sweet. All right. Um, I don't know that I'm super qualified to teach shape design and brush economy. I mean, I can share my thoughts on it. So, really, it boils down to using the biggest brush possible to get the effect that you're after. That way, you're not describing in 10 little strokes what you can describe in one or two big strokes. Um, and I like the way uh, Ahmed Eldori teaches shape design. So, what he likes to do is do each shape or each group of shapes on one layer. So, this is how he would approach like this shape here. He would try to get one big shape in and then erase what he doesn't need to carve into that shape and then merge it down. Repeat. New shape or new layer. Shape. Paint as sloppy as you want on one big layer. Erase what you don't need. Merge it down. New layer. Like it's this over and over and over again. And then you can also um, have brain farts. Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but that's one way to approach shape design is doing your shapes, your big shapes on separate layers and merging them down when you're happy with the shape. But also the degree of stylization that you're after has a lot to do with it. So you'll use fewer shapes. Sorry, trying to organize my thinking and doing a horrible job at it. You'll use fewer shapes the more stylized you get. So, oh no. Hey now. All right, let me figure that out. I'm so sorry. Huh. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I had to restart the capture for some reason. I don't know what happened. I don't know how long it's been frozen. Um, what was the last thing that I that I was talking about? while it was frozen. Like, did you catch the? So I'll take a step back. The way Ahmed Eldori does it is he'll make a new layer or whatever shape he's trying to, or whatever shape or group of shapes he's trying to design. He will paint that area really big and then erase what he doesn't need from that shape, merge it down, make a new layer, rinse and repeat over and over and over again. I think that's where I was. If I wasn't, let me know and I'll take another step back. I want to go a little darker than this, so pop that open and do that. Yes, that looks nice. But the more stylized you want to be with your art, the simpler your shapes should be and the fewer shapes you should have. Good example of how I would like maybe erase some of the shape out after I've mapped it in. And then when I'm happy with those shapes, merge it down. Moving into color, I'll actually, so I am not ready to do color yet. I really want to have a solid value map first, but I will show you my process for doing color. Give me just a second. Did I make a new layer? No, it's fine. And I'm by no means a master at color. Like color is something that I struggle with greatly. But I like to have three major colors in a painting. I will do, and I've been bad about following this rule at times. Um, that being said, my best pieces do follow this rule. My mediocre pieces, I've found, get away from it if I don't remind myself of this rule. But it's really the 60, 20, 10 rule. So if you do, I'm just going to pick up, let's go back to the ballpoint. So 60, 20, 10, or 60, 30, 10. I'm bad at the math. So main color, accent color, and focal color. So this is like your environment color. This is the color that you can use to really lead the eye toward your focal point. And this is the smallest amount of color that you add at your focal point to really make it stand out. Now, the funny thing is, most of this doesn't even really matter like what color scheme you pick, though if this one and this one are complementary, you get a much better like blow. Um, it really drives the focus. But honestly, you can pick basically at random what these three colors are, and it'll look pretty good. Um, you can even do like an analogous scheme. So say like do 60% like a gray blue. You do 30% of your painting as like a maybe purple. And then you do your 10% focal as like a pink. That'd work really well. But if you pushed this towards a more complementary color scheme, so if you did like gray, blue, and purple, and then pushed this straight to like a vibrant orange, that would make it really pop. And that's kind of what I'm going to be doing here. I already had the idea mapped out in my head for this, but the bulk of the scene is going to be sort of a grayish green, like think desaturated, like even more desaturated camo green, um, with some accent colors in the sky and the light source up here with sort of a golden yellow. So that's pretty analogous. They go together really well. And then the focal points were going to be like orange and red, but more saturated. So all of that color theory just brain dumped on you. The the way I tend to color is by uh, copying the canvas. So you go here, copy canvas, paste, and you get a perfect copy of your canvas right here. Then switch that to soft light, and then do a gradient map. So this lets you, which I've got some like really weird gradient maps. They're all fun. Some of these are like, actually a lot of these are the standard Procreate gradient maps. Some of them I've copied from a set of gradient maps that I bought. Well, you don't have to buy them actually. He gives them away for free, but it's a pay what you want model. I don't do a color overlay. I do soft light. Um, so soft light is much less damaging to your values. Not completely undamaging to your values, but less damaging. So I usually start with soft light, and it looks like it froze again. Crap. What is going on with AirDroid today? Properties, restart capture. There we go. So soft light lets you, or soft light plus a gradient map means that you can really play with what the gradient will look like. And it gives you just a really solid base. Oh, but these are free. They're Photoshop gradient maps that you can buy from Peter Morbacher. But it's a pay what you want and you can get them for free. I bought the whole set and I've slowly been recreating the ones that I like inside of Procreate. So this weird one, if you tap weird one, it gives you these sliders and you can pick your color even down to the hexadecimal value. I do wish that it would let you pick specifically where it falls on the map or on the gradient. That's what this stream's about, though. Like, yeah, throw your art questions. I love it. Um, like, I wish I could see the percentage of what this was on the gradient map so I could perfectly recreate Pete's gradient maps, but I don't know what it is. um, but what I'm gonna do is actually hold down, duplicate, weird one, Actually, I'll just go over here to this weird one. It looks like I've already been playing with it. So I really want the darks to be a sort of camo green. So I'm going to go into, funny enough, camo green actually isn't green. It's really yellow that has been slightly desaturated and darkened. Like that is camo green. Same thing happens if you mix yellow paint with black and gray. Like with black, you get sort of a muddy green, and then you use gray to desaturate it a little bit more. Yeah, weird trick that your eyes play. Um, which is why the golden yellow is a very analogous color to camo green. Right, that. Desaturate. You know what? I'm going to leave this weird brick orange color in there along with this forest green. And I'm going to push this more towards that golden yellow, but I'm going to saturate it. Yes, look at that. Holy crap. And that would be like the base gradient map that I use. And when it's set to soft light, I can see how much I want to like influence the values underneath it. And that's what you end up with. Like your base color layer. And I like that it is desaturated for the base color. If you think about real life, most of everything you see is actually kind of gray. But what's cool about doing this, and you can do this non-destructively if you want to by just throwing a mask over it and then painting with black, you can get rid of some of the gradient map where you want. So say I want her skin to be that pop of reddish orange. I'll actually get rid of the gradient map colors by masking them off like so. And you can layer your gradient maps. Or you can just make another soft light layer and paint some color over top of it. This is really sloppy, so it's not going to look great. Like this is really, really sloppy actually. But it does give you an idea of like how I would approach coloring. I do like to do things on multiple layers with color just because it gets kind of crazy and messy. Like, there we go. And then you just, yeah. This is not a skin tone I would actually use. This is kind of horrible, actually. What the hell is that? Oh, I don't know what's happening. What brush? Oh, I'm on the ballpoint brush. That's what's wrong. Yeah, Blazing Wedge. Let's do this at normal opacity. Yeah, I kind of hate that color, but let's go right there. There's a sort of peachy flesh color. But now my soft light isn't intense enough. So let's bump this saturation. What's that look like? That's nice. There we go. But no, my coloring process is usually layer upon layer upon layer of soft light. Ta-da! And then if I want to add some emphasis to her skin in some area, I will just make it warmer, especially if there's a cool camo greenish background. Like that. The only thing is, if you want to color pick any of these colors, you have to switch it to like a normal, oh, not multiply, a normal layer, which looks really ugly, and then switch it back to a soft light. There we go. Or you can use the color history. So Procreate's sort of weird with their color history. Like it's not always very accurate, which is irritating. So I've been over this repeatedly in the Discord. It's Weezard. Weezard. Yes. um, but I am getting into color way too soon, so I'm gonna get rid of all of these and just go back to value. Yeah.
Daddy, how clear I'm gonna be for Anna?
Like that. What is it?
These are gonna be for Anna too.
Why are you licking paper?
Okay.
Because, okay. Holy crap, it is 10 o'clock. I did make progress. Um, I did get a little distracted. Thanks, guys. No, it's totally fun. So, before, after. Um, yeah, there's a lot left to do. And I just made it further from the finish line, but with a better composition. So it's a win to me. Yeah, so this puts our eye level like right at their shoulders. So we are a little bit lower than regular eye level. I'll take that. Actually, we're depending on how tall these ladies are, this would put us at like 2 foot, 2 feet lower than normal eye level for me. Because yeah, they're like 5'4". Um, yeah, I think it's getting more stylized the way I want it to be stylized. So I am actually very satisfied with the progress today. I've also sort of solidified my thinking around color theory. Um, there's also there's a YouTuber I've recently discovered who has been incredibly beneficial. It's actually the Namera, the guy who did the water tutorial that I sent. He has a lot of really awesome content on illustration, um, specifically like how to think about character-driven art. He's used some terms that I never really considered before. So we always think about like focal point and brain part. So you've got your subject and your setting, I guess is the best way to put it. The way he's actually that's the way I prefer to think about it. Um, and sometimes the subject is the setting, but how you use detail in your subject or your setting really determine where the emphasis is. So when you're rendering, think about like, what am I rendering here? Is this the subject? Do I need to add more detail to make it read better? Or is this just some part of the stage design? If it's part of the stage design, don't make it distracting. I was like, oh, yeah, that makes perfect sense. And I kind of feel dumb for the way I've been approaching things in the past. So most of my rendering now is specifically on uh, subject. And I let the setting sort of fall into the background more because that's what it is. It's a background. And I don't want it stealing any of the emphasis that I put on the character. Um, but yeah, that's it for my rant today. Thank you all for hopping on and chatting with me. It's been really cool, actually. Haven't had a whole lot of interaction lately. Oh, yeah, it's been. I'm just gonna ramble. Yeah, I'm not even subscribed to him, but his videos keep popping into my feed, and I'm like, oh, that's brilliant. Um, I think his accent helps me learn more too because I'm more attentive to like trying to understand him because it is a fairly thick accent. He speaks well, but it is a thick accent for an American to listen to. But it makes me absorb the information better because I'm like, okay, okay, keep speaking. Um, but his content is really good. Um, I like it. Yeah, there's lots going on in the Johnson household lately. So I've been tattooing my face off. Today is like the first day that I'm not tattooing in a minute, and I am not trying to book any tattoos today. Um, but I've been under a very heavy workload. My wife is now back in school. She had a week off that I didn't really get to enjoy with her because I was tattooing too much. Um, it's been a lot. It's been a lot. Her school. Well, thank you. Welcome, Angela. I was like you and Marcelo both have not hopped on a whole lot since the daylight savings time crap. So yeah, I get it. Us silly Americans with our daylight savings time. Um, what is happening? The I am frustrated with OBS right now. There we go. The OBS has been randomly uh, dropping pieces of the stream. Like, I don't know how long you guys have been listening to me without music, but the music is like what makes the live stream. I just saw that my bars weren't moving. I was like, what the hell? Um, like I've got music. I was just neglecting you all. Um, but yeah, between my workload, parenting, my wife's workload, plus her school workload, it's been a lot. Like our marriage has taken a hit. Even like that's we don't we rarely fight, but it's gotten to the point where we both came to the realization that we were putting our marriage last, which is something we agreed to never do. So we've had to actually, for the first time in 12 years, work on our relationship. Like normally our relationship is something that is very natural and we benefit each other a lot, but we got to a place where we were both just like angry all the time. And it wasn't like anyone's fault. We just neglected the marriage part of our lives. And yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. Things are good now. But it was a real wake up call where it was like, holy shit, we're roommates that sleep in the same bed together. That sucks. Oh damn, I'm oversharing and trauma dumping. Sorry guys. Now, all of this, like getting into the whole immigration to Australia and the struggles with life, just kind of reminded me of something that made me very happy lately. So one of my favorite YouTubers, a guy named Cam, goes by Struthless. He just recently opened up about some struggles that he's had over the past 2 years with some massive debt that he got from, to the best of my understanding, like co-signing a loan. And then he started a GoFundMe, and I contributed because he and I share a lot of similarities. And the Australian thing is what made me think of this. It's like immigrating to Australia. He's Australian. He's really good dude. But his philosophy on life and creativity is basically the same as mine. He has also had struggles with life, like rough childhood. So he and I were like, in a weird way, kindred spirits. He doesn't know who I am though. It's fine. I'm sure a lot of us have similar life stories, but he opened up about his struggles and had a GoFundMe that most of his audience was very open and receptive to contributing, myself included. I shot him a few bucks to go toward the fund, and like within 3 days he crushed his goal, and it restored some of my faith in humanity because it's been running on E for a while. Oh, but my little one is running around the studio getting into shit. I'm gonna go chase her down and maybe take her to get some ice cream. So I'm gonna argue with you on this one, Angela. Yeah, I don't know if he co-signed or what, but he ended up as the guarantor for some debt. It sounds like a co-signer situation. I don't know, but I'm gonna argue on the marriage is work thing. So we're 12 years in right now, and up to this point, none of it has been work. That doesn't mean not effort. So there's a nuance here that I think is really important, and it's one that's me and the missus really had to have a heart-to-heart about. So here's my opinion on the matter. It's just an opinion. I'm not like, you're wrong, I'm right. Yes. So Um, marriage takes effort, but under the best of circumstances, it's a game. And the way I like to think of the game is it's very specific. So the point of the game is to use your effort to outlove your partner every day. Like that's your goal, is to give your partner more love. And that's rule number 1. Rule number 2 is don't keep score. So it doesn't matter who wins. The goal of the game is to just outlove your partner every day, but don't keep score. Rule number 3 is only keep playing as long as both people are playing. So you're not keeping score, but if it's a one-sided relationship, it turns into a drain instead of something that is fun. And that's when a relationship goes from fun and effort to work. So if it feels like work because you're not both trying to outlove each other every day, that's when you should either make a change or get out. Yeah, I mean that's what it boils down to. Love and be loved in return. And I think that's a really important thing that anyone in a romantic relationship, whether it's marriage, partnership, what have you, everyone in a romantic relationship deserves to be loved. And in that context, being loved is an action, not a feeling. So, yeah. I'm getting sappy. Holy shit. Yeah, I'm done. All right, I'm leaving. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and listening to all right. All right, take it easy, guys. Thank you for tuning in and listening to my ranting about immigration and romance. Yeah, it's gray out here too. Holy crap. So take it easy. Talk at you next Tuesday. Till next time, keep doing the drawing, the painting, the writing, the singing, dancing, all of that fun stuff. Check out my website at joshj.blog. Slowly getting my print shop back up. Really excited about the progress on the website. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Anytime, I'll answer all the questions if I can, and if I can't, I'll be like, I don't know. Yeah, super excited about my website though. Check it out, joshj.blog. I've set it up like a Patreon sort of. And members get discounts, even if you're a free member. You get discounts in the web shop. Yeah. All right. I'm out. Take it easy.